At the end of our session on corporate biodiversity accounting and disclosure, I asked 5 of our panel members to share their take-home messages, and here's what they had to say.
So for me, the key thing that's come out of this event today has been around optimism, obviously, the title of the event, but the idea that actually if we can be positive about it, how much energy we can create with people and how that can create connections between the different parts of the system, how we can link up the conservation bodies through to business, through to governments, through to civil society, and that for me is extremely positive.
It was a pleasure to be here today, listening to a variety of stories, perspectives, and my take-home message is that how important it is to make sure that the right people are at the table when discussing processes and developing standards. Making sure that all the stakeholders that are affected by the tool have a chance to say and have a chance to voice their concerns in their opinions, in their expectations. Today was already quite an important step towards that, because a diversity of people were invited, and so we had NGOs, we had academic, we had businesses, we had research organizations, and already that was quite an important perspective and gave a lot of richness to the conversation. And this is the proof that how important it is to make sure that even if it might take longer in order to get to the final output, but it is important to have everybody who's affected at the table.
My take-home message from today is how important it is for businesses to take better account of their impact on biodiversity, because they are a key driver of this increasing loss of biodiversity that is taking place. And in order to do so, we do need to collaborate across different parts of society, government, NGOs and academia and business, and try to consolidate all the work that has been already taking place on the importance of biodiversity for business and how businesses impact biodiversity, and try to consolidate it so we can move forward and develop a more standardized way of taking this into account.
My key take-home message is that business really needs to understand the ecological systems within which they're operating. They need to integrate these considerations into their decision making, into the way that they understand their impacts and dependencies on natural systems, and the impacts and dependencies of the communities in those natural systems, within the landscapes in which they're operating. And they need to be accountable for that. So they need to not only quantify and qualify what they're doing in those landscapes, but they need to work with either local civil society and the communities themselves to act upon those impacts and dependencies so that we have a far more sustainable outcome. Cross-sectoral collaboration is important. I think that's one of the questions that I was asked. NGOs play a fundamental role in this, as do academia, but we need to understand what the boundaries are that government sets in terms of regulation. We need to foster the stimulus that is generated by independent voluntary systems, standards, and best practice standards, but also those that are set by the banking sector. So, for example, Performance Standard 6 and the environmental and social safeguards. There's a lot of work to do, but I think that the way that we are finding positive outcomes for conservation, for biodiversity, by working across sectors is really important.
So I think what this session has highlighted to me is just the critical importance of collaboration amongst a number of different players. We're talking about private sector, we're talking about NGOs, we're talking about policymakers, governments, and the importance of all of these parties working together in a very positive, collaborative way to find these solutions. So that's the first big take-home. The second big take-home to me is the importance of innovation. There are different systems out there, and it's always important for us to keep improving and innovating and finding better systems for valuing nature and integrating that into corporate decision making. And the third actually is the inspiration. We can't achieve this just by numbers. It's critically important that we have the right motivations, the right systems, but we have to be truly motivated to address some of these big challenges with biodiversity loss around the world. And when we put that optimistic and positive framework in this, it actually converts this whole numbers game and accounting and financial valuations into a really exciting and innovative area of work for the future. So in that sense, I'm very, very positive and very optimistic.